And a very warm welcome to this conversation. I'm joined by someone who's very special in what he has achieved in his life, Shiva Prasad. He is the vice captain of the Indian wheelchair cricket team. But the interesting thing is, Shiva has tried his hand at all kinds of sport. He used to play tennis, and then he just kind of said, you know what, I've had enough of tennis. Let me just try my hand at cricket. And then he started playing cricket, and he was good at that as well. So, Shiva, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. Um,
Thank you very much, Meha.
Now,
Thanks
for
for
all
having me.
those people who are seeing this, Shiva, let me just give a bit of a background of why and what makes Shiva so incredible. Is that Shiva had polio in his legs, right, at a very young age, but never gave up hope and was especially interested in sport, in cricket, being his first love, and did everything. I'm going to get into the details of his story by asking him a couple of questions, but this is what it is. Here we have somebody who started with a limitation but overcame that and overcame it brilliantly. So, let's find out from Shiva, how has the journey been? Shiva, take us back to when it all started for you.
All right. Sports is something that I've been passionate from throughout my childhood. And at the beginning days, as and when we are growing, I used to play with normal kids like everyone. I used to be very good at that point of time. And after growing up, you face that discrimination, and you are let out of the team. So
Yeah.
that's how I was eagerly waiting for an opportunity to get into some sort of sports again, and that's
Hmm.
where tennis opened up, and played tennis for 4 years, and took part in few international tournaments and did well, and eventually reached number two level in India. So 2016 I was ranked number two, and because tennis is a very expensive sport, eventually I had to give up because there was hardly any support from the government side. Then got back to my childhood passion, which is of cricket. And in 2016 onwards, I started playing cricket, and for now I'm present vice captain of Indian wheelchair cricket team, and I've
Right.
participated in two international tournaments, and also lead Karnataka side, and which is one among top three sides in entire India. We have more than say 20 odd teams, and I'm also a founder of an NGO by name, Divyaang Myithri Sports Academy.
Okay, so let's start then with, how did you get to playing wheelchair tennis? It's not
Okay.
something that one would think of, because I would think that, especially growing up in a country like India, it is really about, getting a job, making
True.
sure you study, you get good marks, get through to
True.
a good university, possibly, a professional college, IIT to MBA, whatever. That's the scene really for every kid in this country, right? So
True. True. True.
how did wheelchair tennis happen to you?
I was very lucky to be identified by Mr. Sitaram, who was then the secretary of All India Wheelchair Tennis Association, and we met in one of the when I was actually refilling petrol for my bike. So he
Okay.
looked at me and he asked me, you look very fit. Do you play any sports? And I said no, but I would love to play sports. That's how he gave his appointment to meet him at the tennis court. And I still remember the first day. I was very excited and wanted to get into court and start playing. And that's how it all started. And I would like to convey a big thanks to Mr. Sitaram, who eventually got me into sports. And from
Mhm.
there onwards, there is no looking back.
Okay. So you got into sports through somebody who actually found you at a petrol station. Like, when do you ever see that happening? But chalo, it started. Now, what was that like? First of all, how did your family react to it when you said that, this is what I wanted to pursue, this is what I want to do? What was that like?
To be very honest, my family members didn't know until I became very good at that,
Okay.
and I was keeping it as secret to myself, and was not very expensive because people don't take it in the right way. So that's how and after that the family got to know about it, and my employees got to know about it, and they were very supportive of that. And the company where I worked, the search practice was really helpful, and they also sponsored a couple of my international tournaments as well. And my mom, she was like always used to introduce me as he's a star and sports and all stuff like that. Got respected among all my family members as well, and that's how now there's no looking back. I mean, the people are very supportive of me.
Okay, for anybody who doesn't understand wheelchair sport, so let's start with cricket, I guess, because right now everybody is interested in the IPL and all of that. So, what are the differences that one sees when you're on a wheelchair playing cricket? What are the things other than the fact that you're on a wheelchair? What are the differences in the rules?
Okay. See, there are not any major rule changes as such, except for the boundary lines on a normal cricket. It's up and above 65 to 70 odd meters. And for us, it's been reduced, and we keep it somewhere between 45 to 50 meters. And on the cricket pitch, we've reduced to 2 yards. So we play 20 yards cricket pitch, and rest all remains the same. So only differences, major differences, we sit on wheelchair and unlike the normal crickets.
Hmm. Okay. Uh, so then, when you said that you started with tennis, what was when you sort of got into it, Shiva? What was the following like? How many people played wheelchair tennis or wheelchair cricket, and how difficult was it for you to get into it? To not just understand the rules, but also be a part of it. There's one thing is playing it for as a hobby, right?
Yeah.
And then following it professionally, trying to go for various tournaments internationally, be it sponsorship, be it help from the government. What was that whole journey like?
See, the story remains the same, irrespective whether it is wheelchair tennis, cricket, or any other sports as well. When I started playing wheelchair tennis, and there were very limited players. So overall, if you take in India, even now, there are not more than say 60 odd players, playing from different parts of Karnataka. I mean, India. So the number is very less. And looking at India as a nation, we've got a lot of potential, and there are very limited, participation among differently abled. And it is, and the other major challenges is that the sports infrastructure, and it is not accessible. And even if it is inaccessible, it is, one cannot get to play there, because tennis being a very expensive sport, and there is a membership attached to it.
Right.
And there's no facility wherein someone who wants to try it out, even to play as a hobby for free. Of course, there's no place available in entire India. So one has to get a membership and then play. And when it comes to professional level, even after, if someone manages to get a court for himself and then start playing regularly at the professional level, for him to find sponsor is a major challenge as well. So what used to happen to me is that, in spite of, I mean, rather than spending time, improving my game, training, and focusing on my diet and other stuff, I used to start preparing proposals and decks, and then keep sharing to everyone. So till the last date, it is very unsure that, whether I would be able to go to this particular event or not. So it was very uncertain. That is the state even now. And eventually that's what motivated us to start something like Divyaang Myithri Sports Academy, wherein we can do a tiny bit of support ecosystem to para athletes.
Okay. So, okay. So you got into it, you were obviously struggling with the funds and all of that, but you finally make it to your first international tournament, right?
Yes.
What was that like? What was the feeling really of making it there, and how different were you and your team in comparison to the other athletes who were there, or was it the same?
No, not at all. Comparatively at the international standard, it's totally a different ballgame. The first international tournament experience was amazing, and I was very thrilled, and especially to represent your nation, and whereas there is very limited support, and eventually you go out and represent your country, and that itself is a proud moment for myself. But again, when you go and look at the international players, that's where you get to learn, and where are the gaps you can identify. And one major difference what I found is the equipment what we use, and which are pretty much very basic, and they get to use a quickie wheelchair which is specially designed for wheelchair tennis purpose. And the major difference is the weight eventually, and which makes a huge difference while moving around.
Right.
So they were using a wheelchair which was of 7 to 8 kilos, and wherein our chairs used to weigh somewhere around 19 to 22 kilos, which was very heavier, and would become very difficult to maneuver and all. And eventually you and the training also it differs, wherein we used to get to play only on the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, where we get access to tennis courts, wherein the international standard, they used to spend hours together on everyday basis. So that was a major difference even now. So it was quite challenging.
Okay. So once you started going for these tournaments, did you get a sense of, okay, I have sort of arrived now, all the struggle and everything that I've gone through? And I'm sure everybody who's watching it knows the struggle that just, any sports person has to overcome
Mhm.
to get through to the top of his sport, or get any medal at an international level. So once you were there and you won your first medal, or you did a good performance, what was that feeling? What did it mean to you? And take us back to maybe one moment when you felt like, okay, I have done this now. This is what I wanted to do.
I got this feeling when I made a shift to wheelchair cricket, and tennis was more of wherein we were giving our 100%. In spite of that, we couldn't get into a medals level as such.
Right.
So I played two international tournaments, and the second tournament, I got my first trophy, the international trophy in Bangkok.
Mm.
And the feeling is totally different, that gives a satisfaction in all these struggle,
Yeah.
and to get my first trophy, I used to struggle for almost like 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's just not, the struggle is not only involved in the court, and it is outside as well. And
Yeah.
you got to take care of your family, you got to take care of your practice, and you got to keep a watch on your diet, what you eat, and there's so much of money involved around, and so much of running around the corporates to raise funds. And finally, when you get that trophy, and then the feeling what you get, it's amazing. And the other part is when we defeated Pakistan in Dubai 3-0. And that was, I literally had tears in my eyes, and we were elated, and the entire team was having a great time then.
Yeah.
And to defeat arch rivals Pakistan 3-0, what was one of our amazing feeling.
Yeah.
And and the entire nation, I mean entire people who are involved in wheelchair cricket, they know, Pakistan being founders of wheelchair cricket, and defeating them, that too in a country, which was just quite far from India. That was a huge achievement for the entire team. And the feeling is amazing.
Yeah.
Whenever you look at those memories, you still have, that gives a sense of achievement, saying that, finally we've done something great.
So, here you are. You have sort of achieved all that you set out to do in a way in wheelchair cricket. Of course, for a sports person, there is no stopping. You obviously want to continue winning. You want to continue playing. But at some point, and you have to tell us where that point, what was that point in your life when you decided, I need to do this for everybody else, just the way. So not only did you struggle, but that's okay. You did it. Now you've started, you've moved on, you're winning medals, you're winning tournaments abroad. Uh, what was that point when you felt like, I need to give back to my community? I need everybody around me who has any form of disability to be part of this family and sort of bring everybody up. And that's what Divyaang Myithri Academy is. So tell me, when did that happen? Why did you decide to open this? And Where was that point in your life where you said, I'm going to help everybody else also?
Okay, it was not only my dream, it was the entire, people around me. So when we started the Divyaang Myithri Sports Academy, we were teammates of eight of us, and all
Yeah,
are tennis players, wheelchair tennis players.
right.
And we go back to tennis playing days, wherein we go to countries like Bangkok and Malaysia and Sri Lanka, and you get to interact with players there. And I still recollect my conversation with one of the Australian coach, and he told us saying that what all benefits they get from their country. The one is that they get stipend to play first of all, and rather than which makes him to focus only on his sport. And second thing is he gets the complete reimbursements whenever he goes to play out international tournaments. So they have a minimum cap saying that 10 tournaments they can go out in a year and play. So that is a very good number for a player to go and participate. And the infrastructure, there's no discrimination. Anyone can, you get a player ID, and irrespective whether you play wheelchair tennis or normal tennis, you're treated as one.
Yeah.
So that's not the case here in our country. When you go out and say you're a wheelchair tennis player, you don't get that same respect like the other like your Leander Pace or Mahesh Bhupati get. You don't get the free memberships anywhere. You gotta still pay there. And all these difficulties, even to play a sport which you love, was becoming very difficult. So there's no proper infrastructure. There's no proper a platform wherein someone can go reach out and seek information. As in, for example, say I want to play some sport, wheelchair cricket. So there was no information available on the internet as well.
Mm.
So that's where, rather than waiting for someone else to come and do something, we chose to form this organization. And at least we wanted to give information, where a person, if for example, if someone wants to play athletics, we would at least share that information, where to go and who would be the right person to reach out to. And it all started from there, and we were just having a coffee in one of the restaurant, and that's how Divyaang Myithri started. And from there onwards, we started, we tested out and doing it one event, and which gave us a huge reception, and people loved it. And it was a wheelchair cricket tournament, and it was very new in Karnataka, so no one knew wheelchair cricket even existed in Karnataka back then. So and after that we started getting a lot of inquiries, people wanting to play wheelchair cricket, and that's how it started.
Right.
And last 3 years, I believe we've done some 14 events so far.
Hmm.
And coming years too, we've been looking to organize a lot of other events, and we've got huge plans in different sports. We will try and achieve it one by one.
Well, the way you've been going, Shiva, I have no doubt in my mind that you will achieve those plans. And of course, we wish you all the very best for that. But okay,
Thank you.
so Divyaang Myithri Academy, for everybody who wants to be a part of it, Shiva, now it's very easy. Just go on Google, look out for Shiva Prasad, and you'll get all the details. If you want to contact him, I'm sure there are details for his for
Absolutely.
contacting him on the website as well. So anybody who's interested can do that. Uh, okay, Shiva. Now let's get to cricket specifically, and let's find out for the cricket nerds, what is it that you do? I believe you're a bowling all rounder. We had a bit of a chat yesterday, all of you, Shiva and I, and I asked him how many sixes has he hit, and he said, I'm more of a bowling all rounder. So tell me one thing: if you were to go back to one particular moment in on the field that really made you sort of happy and thrilled. I know that winning against Pakistan was one of those, but what would it be? Tell our viewers, what is it that one moment that you loved?
See, one of the best moments what I always cherish is the super over between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. And this was in the first series ever which happened in Karnataka, and it was among Karnataka, UP, and Tamil Nadu. And how I formed a team is a different story altogether. And I'll share that later, maybe. And we it was a tri series, and there was a round of robin league wherein we played against UP, and we defeated UP. and UP was a champion team then,
Okay.
and they played they've been playing since the last 5 to 6 years, and wheelchair cricket was pretty new, and we defeated UP in the first match, and then we got back to Tamil Nadu, and there was a tie, and there was a super over, which I scored 19 runs and one over, and then got back to bowling and restricted them to 10 runs. And that was one of the best moment in my ever life, wherein the first three balls I scored the hat trick force, and
Right.
the entire team was nervous, I had to step in and do it for my team, and that one moment is something that it'll always remain in my heart forever.
I can't imagine the excitement a player goes through in a super over. I mean, I've seen enough super overs to last me a lifetime, and especially if you just go by this IPL, we've seen too many super overs.
Oh,
One was a
absolutely, yeah,
super over within a super over.
yeah,
I mean, two super overs in a match, but the 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 excitement and to sort of keep your nerves and then go out there and perform well, because there must be so much pressure on you. That must
absolutely.
be crazy, yeah, Shiva.
Oh my God! The entire team was very nervous, and
Yeah.
and the person who played pretty well in that match he asked me. He was a little nervous to take one strike, so eventually I had to step in.
Yeah.
And to be very honest, I wasn't sure till the first ball, and I just wanted. I just was very determined and focused to play straight, and which was wherein I can at least strike a ball and give single to my other partner, and
Right.
after the first boundary, I was very confident, and I thought, and I'm fine, if I'm able to do it the first ball, I can do it again and again. So that's how it ended, and eventually we scored some 19 runs, and the target was 20, and we restricted that.
That's
And
brilliant. I can't even imagine what must have been the feeling then. And then you went out to bowl after scoring 19, yeah?
yes, yes. After scoring so much of run, I was very confident saying that I would be able to do it, and it was, and then once the 19 runs, the entire team had confidence saying that we would be definitely be able to restrict them. So the
Right.
confidence was there, so I was able to go and out deliver.
So I'm sure you're following the IPL, and I can only imagine what your favorite team is. I'm quite sure it's RCB, considering you play for Karnataka. Now, the interesting
Absolutely.
story, guys, is that Shiva follows RCB, and his wife is from Tamil Nadu. So she follows CSK. And you're talking about the super over. Tell me, what was that then? Where you are playing against Tamil Nadu. You said there are two super overs that you played, and both have been against Tamil Nadu?
No, there was one super over which I
Okay.
won, and there was again in the league matches. I was given a man of the match award,
Against
and
Tamil
I
Nadu.
bowled against the Tamil Nadu, and then I was married. The first super over I was not. The second match I was married, and I can still remember. And I bowled 4 overs. It was
Yeah.
a T20 match. I bowled 4 overs, got four wickets, and I took one catch. And so if you see the first 5 wickets, my name was there. Shiv Prasad, Shiv Prasad, Shiv Prasad. Even the
Yeah.
catch was my name. So
So
so it, it
you finished your quota in the power play and made sure your team was ready to win, huh?
we got them out for 28 runs. So you can imagine.
Okay. So then was that the lowest score in your league?
I think so. I think so.
I,
Yes.
yeah. Okay. So you had a major role to play in it. But then you come back home and you tell your wife that I have beaten Tamil Nadu in a super over. And she follows cricket as you told me. And so what was that like then when you had this conversation?
That's what senior RCB had been getting, hammered till the season at least. And she's been a very hardcore supporter of Dhoni and CSK. And even today, I think we were discussing,
Yeah.
RCB couldn't post a big total today, but still I'm hoping they would be able to win.
They'd be able to,
But
yeah.
again, when it comes to wheelchair cricket, she becomes the dead opposite. She supports Karnataka like anything.
But she must be quite heartbroken with the way CSK is performing at the moment. I think all Dhoni
Absolutely.
fans are.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, it's finally. I mean, you could never imagine that in the IPL, CSK would ever be this
Be
bad.
like this. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so there have been some incredible. I mean, whenever I talk to sports persons, there obviously talk of overcoming their fears and just being able to play to the best of their ability, right? I mean, that's what a sports person, athletes aspires to do. What is it that Shiva Prasad wants from here onwards in his life? What all, I mean, obviously what you've achieved has been fantastic, but what is it that you're looking at? And we can all cancel 2020. It has been the worst year for all of us. And, we're not counting 2020, but say 2021 onwards. What is it that Shiva wants to do?
See, the one is the major contribution has to come from the government side, and apart from that, there is one Divyaang Myithri in entire of India, and there are so many small organizations which are coming nowadays, like for wheelchair cricket India and IWTT for tennis and wheelchair basketball India Association for basketball, and there are a handful of organizations which are working towards overall development of para sports. And I want many organization and this parasport should reach to rural athletes as well. And there are so many inquiries I get from a remote part of Karnataka, and wherein I cannot help them, but still people make journey throughout 450, 500 kilometers and just to take part in sports. So many the
Have you
one
had
request
that
is
kind of a thing? Can you give us an example?
absolutely.
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. The last week there was one player from Koppal. Koppal is almost like 470 kilometers, and his name is Shamit. And he is a he has a deformity in his leg, and he traveled almost like 470 kilometers just to take part in one practice session. And that's purely because there's no other facility in his district, and that's the state of sport in our country. So and my sincere request to everyone is to come out and try and do something for para sports as well, because there's a lot of organizations which are organizing for normal tournament, and it would be that difficult for them to just add para sports as well. There are so many. I think big players like BCCI and should come forward and take this initiative ahead, and then after that, make all the sporting infrastructure accessible, and the sports policy should change as well.
Right.
So
Okay, Shiva, if anybody wants to contact you for say tournaments, sponsorship, whatever else, can you give them the details of where they can get in touch with you?
I think we are pretty much there in all the social media,
Okay. Okay.
so far I've not seen anyone who's been finding it difficult to reach out to us, and we
Okay,
are
great.
there. And Facebook being our a major media where we are very active, and any responses there, any request, then we immediately respond to them and share our contact details. So that's very quite easy, and apart from that, we also have a website called www.divyaangmythri.com, and people can reach out to us there as well.
Okay. So just a last question before we end this session. What how has the conversation changed in your home itself? Like I always think that any kind of change begins at home, and even with sport and taking or following or pursuing sport at a professional level, that is that process also starts at home. And you said you didn't tell your folks at home about what you were doing for a really long time. What is the conversation now around this?
Especially my wife, she plays a very important role, and she's been very supportive. And there are talks wherein sometimes I'm unable to contribute to the family expenses, and that's where we discuss about should I quit now, should I give up and try and focus on getting a full-time job, and that's why. But she's been very supportive, and she say, and whenever you want to retire, you can retire. I know it has to be your decision purely, but again, not because of the financial constraints. And she's been very supportive, and this is something she's very proud of me. And at the end of the time, I know it gives me that freedom to go out and give all towards the sports.
Well, it has been an absolutely exciting, enlightening conversation with you because it's all okay when one talks about this and one reads about it, but to hear it from the person who's been through it all and has come victorious on the other side, it's a fantastic thing. So Shiva, I just wish you all the very best, and I want to thank you for taking the time out to be part of this initiative. I believe that all of us need to be aware of our limitations only so that we can overcome it in the way that you have. And so for everybody who's watching, if ever you feel down and out in your life, or moments in your life and you felt like, oh gosh, I can't do this anymore, my life sucks, look at what really Shiva has achieved with whatever he got. I mean, the idea is to just go out there and fight. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Is there anything, last
Uh,
words before we go, that you want to
uh,
say
thank
to
you, thank you,
everybody?
thank you so much, Meha. It's been an amazing talking to you. And personally, I know I follow you, and you've been interviewed some of the sporting icon whom I personally love a lot. What my the last few words is that para sports, be it wheelchair cricket, basketball, or tennis, it's played at very competitive level.
Right,
So people look at it as in social angle, which is a very wrong perspective.
right.
It is played at very competitive level. So you go get out an Paralympic medal, it is still considered as Paralympic.
Mm,
I mean, it is one of the highest medals you
right.
get. So people should respect that, respect athletes, and we're not asking for anything else, just an equal opportunity to play. So,
That's a wonderful way to end this. They're not asking for a lot, they're just asking for equal opportunities. And I think that's the least that all of us can do. So, everybody, thank you, Shiva, first of all, for telling your story. And I think everybody who's hearing this should understand this and know that you can begin from today. I mean, it's really about uh, whenever you get to know of what para sport is, you can go out and support the athletes. You can give them equal opportunities, as Shiva said, and then see them, blossom into these world-class athletes. Thank you so much, Shiva.
thanks,
Uh,
Mia.
we wish you all the very best. Thanks once
Thank you,
again.
thank you so much. Thanks a lot for having me. Thanks a lot.